guess one of the questions I would like to ask you, Obinna, is how important is storytelling from your personal experience and professional experience as well? How important is storytelling in a successful pitch? And how would you recommend balancing innovation with practicality when launching a new business idea?
All right. Storytelling is really the soul of what you are. It's essentially the soul of whatever it is that you are trying to present. Because if you have, what I say to people, if you have something, and that thing is really not clearly defined, it can be of substance or value. But if you do not put a proper covering around it, or some sort of, I don't want to say the cliche word, but if it's not put together properly or packaged properly, people don't appreciate it. Storytelling is kind of like that great package for what you are doing, that great work with it. I was having a conversation with a director friend of mine, and he is really good, but one of the challenges he has is he never talks about his work. And he says, oh, my work will talk for me, my work will speak for me, and all that stuff. But what you don't understand is that, yes, you have the great body of work, but you need to talk about it. It's kind of like the way you make a film and then you have to market it. You spend, so if you spend 2 naira to make something, you have to spend 1.5 naira to talk about that thing. Because marketing is essentially storytelling. So it's so vital and important, because at the end of the day, that's how you humanize. That's how you essentially bring to the people what it is that you're trying to sell, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, whatever it is. A well-told story is what connects people, because people essentially connect with people. When you have a product or a service, the thing is, it doesn't have a life. Essentially, it's an idea. It's something that works. But the moment you're able to connect the dots with the story you tell and tell people this is how this would help you solve X, that it makes a whole world of difference. So it is so vital and important that if you're putting together your pitch deck, being able to articulate what it is that you are trying to sell or what the problem you're trying to solve is so important. And that's what you can do with storytelling. So I urge everybody who is putting together a pitch or who is trying to, understand how to tell a story. And the structure of storytelling is very simple. Start with the problem you're trying to solve. Why is this so important to you? Why is it so important? So say, XYZ people suffer because they don't have X. I have that solution. Here's how it's going to help you. Oh, and then personalize some of the stories. Oh, I once had a grandmother who was sick. I once had a grandfather I once had a friend that something, and this was how it was able to. Now, the moment people hear that, like, oh, okay, that's true. I can relate to that. That makes some sense to me, because people want to see themselves in the story you're telling, and whatever it is that you're selling, people want to see that product or service can help them solve the need, can help them, even if it doesn't even affect them or it doesn't bother them or it's not something they're interested in, they become curious. And they can say, oh, by the way, I had this really interesting story about something. I think you try it out. That's the power of storytelling, Whatever it is that changes our minds about things is about stories. It's kind of like, and we're all social creatures, we like to connect. Yes. And one of the things that helps us connect is this storytelling. So we're talking about balancing innovation and practicality. I think that, the essence of any product is to solve a need. You cannot just make a product for product's sake, and even if you're coming up with any sort of invention, it's to solve a specific need, that kind of thing. And if your innovation does not help better the lives of people or doesn't help your product get better, then, it makes no sense. It's not just innovation for innovation's sake. What tangible problem is your product serving? How practical is it? That kind of thing. It's kind of like, it's kind of like a very, very beautiful shoe, but you can't wear it. What's the point? It's either, he's too big or something. But people would value old sneakers they can knock around because it's practical. And then if you want to add innovation, probably you can make it, change the color, you can change how it, or maybe innovation could be, so let's take a pair of sneakers, for instance. Innovation around it could be that when you're in the rain, it doesn't get wet. But what is important is that you can wear them, they are comfortable, and you can wear it anywhere, sandy, whether it's sandy, rocky, wherever it is practical. So innovation must meet practicality. They go hand in hand. It's not a question of, innovation for innovation's sake. It must be able to elevate, the experience or the experience of being practical, like I elevate that practical experience. So they go hand in hand. I think that's the simplest way I can answer it. Innovation to help and not necessarily alienate you from using, because too much innovation can be too much. Sometimes it has to be within the ambit of what it is that you are proposing, whatever it is that you are presenting, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So practicality, and again, in a world where there's so much innovation, there's so much distraction, there's so much everybody's making something, but you find out that it's kind of like let me use cars. I'm a car head. I'm a petrol head. So if you have your garage, for instance, and you have a Toyota Camry, then you have a Ferrari 488, and you have a Range Rover, you have a let's say a G-Wagon, for instance, a Mercedes. Now, what they call a daily driver is what is practical. Like Toyota Camry is something you can drive every day. I cannot, so I can drive you to the mall, I can drive you to the market, I can drive you to school, I can drive you to work, but I cannot drive my Ferrari every day. It's got great innovation. It looks great, but it's not practical.
Yes.
So that's an example of if you're trying to reach people, reach a large audience, large customer base, grow wealth, you have to provide a product that is practical for people to use based on whatever problem you're trying to solve. And then innovation is what starts to improve it bit by bit.
Over time.
For instance, maybe it's something that helps people who are visually impaired or have some sort of physical challenge, and then it gives them the opportunity to be able to do that, to help them better, that kind of thing. Innovation should not be alienated. It shouldn't be an abstract concept. It should be something that is practical, that helps elevate the experience of practicality. So that's how I would answer that question.
Fabulous.